Hello, I'm AxelMC131 and welcome back to Behind the Blocks in Minecraft 1.8. And today I am going to show you my own take on a system which has been created by various other redstoners in a variety of different systems, and this is a custom crafting system. Now there are a few of these. I know Dragnos has about 5 different versions. There's a couple of other people I know who have their own little ideas. But this one's a bit different in that it's actually survival friendly, so you can place this down in survival and break it, and it will not actually break your game in any way. So it's nice and easy to use. There's a few things that you have to be a bit honest about, a few bugs that you can exploit if you really try, but yeah, you're gonna have to be a little bit honest about that. So I'll get into it over here. So I'm just gonna go into game mode 0. So I am in survival now, so I can break blocks if I try. And in here I have a variety of items you can see. Don't bother about those, that's just my inventory save. So I've got crafting tables and some cobblestone. Now I'm just going to get a regular crafting table for the moment. Now, a regular crafting table is all well and good. Let me just get the pickaxe and the axe. You can craft anything you want, vanilla Minecraft. I can make like a furnace, you know. There we go. This is just a completely regular crafting table. There we go. However, there's something very special that I can do now, which is if I drop a piece of cobblestone on top of this, dink, it's going to turn into this block here. Now this is actually a dropper, which is pointing down, but what it is advanced crafting. And what this means is that I can add manually crafting recipes that aren't in the game by default. They aren't in the game by default. So I've got a few things over here which I can use. So let's get some stone and some sandstone. And if I go here and I do, let's go stone and a piece of sandstone in the middle. And we've managed to grind that sandstone back into sand. Cool, because you'll know that in the vanilla game there is no way to make sandstone into sand. Now, the way it works does mean that if you put in one item and then you hold the stack in your hand, it will then shut you out because it's using a clone command. I was talking to Redux and A+ while I was working on this, and they were yelling at me for not using like stats or a replace item, but I just find it easier to use a clone command. It makes it a lot simpler. Also, you can't put multiple stacks in, multiple items in at once, because it won't register. You have to have only one item at a time. So that's worth bearing in mind. However, what you will also know is that if I put just a couple of items in, when I leave that table, they won't disappear. So you can see that when I access it again, they're still in there. So they won't just be thrown out of your inventory, unless of course you put the actual recipe in and then ding. Yeah, so that's worth bearing in mind. Now there's a few other recipes that I've got lined up here. So if we get some coal, so we've got some coal blocks. So if we just put a whole lot of these out, look, we can compress coal into diamonds. Isn't that awesome? Look, there we go. Another diamond. Awesome. Little cheaty way to get diamonds. That's going to use, hang on a minute, 9 times 9, 81 coal for 1 diamond. So if you've got the coal to spare, feel free to do that. And there's one other recipe that I've created, which is not craftable. This is something that is not craftable in the game. So I think this could be very useful. You might see what it is before I'm finished. Got an idea? Oh yeah, saddle crafting. So that's the recipe that I came up with for that. And you can also do this for custom items. All you've got to do is make a custom item and then put it in the result table. So I'll quickly just show you one more thing about this. So if I just dump all this stuff back in here, you can break this, because this is in survival. I could just break this, and it's a dropper, so you'd expect it to drop a dropper. But it doesn't. It breaks and it drops a crafting table. Isn't that neat? And it doesn't drop the cobblestone, but I can then carry this anywhere else I want and place it down again and make another one. And then that's usable. Simple as that. Right, so let's get into the commands and I'll show you how it works. Alright, so this here is the entire system that is running that custom crafting station. And these bits here, you can see these are the recipes on this side. And this can be extended as far as you want if you want to add more recipes. And I'll show you how to do that later on. But first of all, how we set this up. So the first thing we're going to need is a scoreboard objective. So we're going to go scoreboard objectives, add. The scoreboard is called makeStation, like that. I just put a capital S in the middle of it. And it's a dummy objective, like that. Now I've got it set to the sidebar display. You don't have, if you're actually using this in a survival world, you would probably turn that off. So scoreboard objectives, set display, sidebar, and then makeStation. But I'm just going to clear that for the moment. So what we're doing here is we're going to set the makeStation score of any cobblestone item to 1. And this is basically an execute at, but because we can't execute at a cobblestone item, we have to execute at a item with a score. So this is how we're actually giving it that score. So scoreboard players set at e type equals item makeStation to 1 if it's an item ID Minecraft cobblestone. So that means that all cobblestone items, so if I just set this back to makeStation, there we go, and I grab that cobblestone back, if I throw this on the ground, you'll see it gets a score of 1. So that's how we're testing for that. So that's our trigger, that's how you make the station. Then what we're doing over here is we've got on the other side of this hopper clock here, we are going to execute at any entity with a score makeStation minimum of 1, so a cobblestone block dropped as an item. We're going to then detect the block below it to be a crafting table. So execute at e score underscore makeStation underscore min equals 1 tilde 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 detect tilde tilde minus 1 tilde, which is the block beneath it, crafting table 0. And if that is the case, so if it's a cobblestone block and it has detected a crafting table below it, it's going to then clone a block from those coordinates. You'll notice these are the same set of 3 coordinates. That's because they're a single block. It's going to clone them tilde tilde minus 1 tilde, which is the block underneath the cobblestone block. So what that is actually this block here. It's cloning this here, which I've got do not break just in case I accidentally do. And what it is a dropper facing down and with a custom name of advanced crafting. That's all it is. There's nothing else particularly special about this dropper. If you're wondering how to get a dropper facing down, you can do it a simple way, but I just did it the hard way because I don't have many at the moment, which is just placing it on the bottom of a block and then covering it up, like so. So there you get your upside down dropper. But we won't go into that. So what that means that's going on is that if this cobblestone block on the ground detects a crafting table underneath it, it's going to replace that crafting table with a copy of this block here. So a dropper called advanced crafting. Right. Then what's going to happen if that has executed, this is going to output true, and then we are going to go execute at entity score makeStation minimum of 1 again. This time we're going to go detect block underneath it to be a dropper, because the block will now have changed to be a dropper instead of a crafting table. And we're going to go summon ArmorStand tilde tilde minus 1 tilde. So it's going to spawn in the dropper, and it has a custom name of station. The custom name is not visible. The ArmorStand itself is invisible. It is also invulnerable. Persistence is required. It has 31 disabled slots, which is the all of them basically, so you can't accidentally right-click on it. Although that's probably not necessary because it's also a marker, so it has a very small hitbox anyway, and it has NoGravity. And it won't normally be here, but if I grab a crafting table and I throw this on top of it, what you can't actually see here is an ArmorStand there. And that ArmorStand, which you can see is inside the dropper, that is what we are executing all the clone commands at for the recipes. Right. There we go. And I'll get to the breaking of it momentarily. So once it has summoned that ArmorStand, it is then going to, after a short delay, it is then going to kill the cobblestone items. So kill at E, score, makeStation minimum of 1. So very simple. It finds a cobblestone block. Is there a crafting table underneath it? Yes. Make a dropper underneath it with this custom name. Then we summon the ArmorStand, and then we kill the cobble. Simple as that. Right. I'll get to the crafting recipes last. I'm just going to go straight on to the breaking of it. So, what we have here on the other side is a redstone clock. This is your standard set block redstone clock and set block to air. And what we're going to do here is we're going to go execute at entity type equals ArmorStand, name equals station. So this is the ArmorStand within the dropper. And we're going to go test for block tilde 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 air. So the block it's in to be air. Now normally that's not the case because the block is normally in is a dropper. However, if that tests true, this only can be because you've broken the dropper. So what it's then going to do is it's going to execute these two commands. This one here is going to go execute at E, type equals ArmorStand, name equals station. We just use it here onwards. We're going to detect the block that it's into air, so you can have multiple stations out at once, but it will only execute at this one. We're going to go kill at E, type equals item, range equals 1. And that will kill the dropper item. So you can see it momentarily appear if you break it in survival. Then we're going to, once again, execute at entity, type equals ArmorStand, name equals station, detect block air. We're going to summon an item, which is a Minecraft crafting table. And make sure you add the count1 tag at the end there, otherwise it will not be able to be picked up. So that's worth bearing in mind. And then finally, once that's happened, we're then going to kill the ArmorStand. So we're going to go, once again, execute at entity, type equals ArmorStand, name equals station, detect the block that it's in to be air, and we're going to go kill any entity, type equals ArmorStand, name equals station, within a range of 1. And assuming you haven't placed them placed two of these right next to each other, which is again where the honesty bit comes in, it will only kill that one that has been broken. Right. So now let's get on to the crafting recipes. So over here we have this side of the hop clock, which is running over these commands. And each of these lines of dropper, command block, comparator, command block, dropper is one recipe. That is the recipe ingredients and then the final resulting item. So you can see over there, this one here, stone, sandstone, and stone. This one is operating the grinding down into sand. So the final result over here is stone for sand and stone. So what we're doing with that is we are actually doing a test for blocks and a clone. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go execute at entity type equals ArmorStand, name equals station, and we're going to go test for blocks, tilde 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 tilde. So that's from the block it's in to the block it's in, and see if that block matches the block at these coordinates. Now this is the point where your system will differ depending on the world. So if you make this in a different world, your coordinates will differ. But the easiest way to grab those coordinates, because those last coordinates are the coordinates of this dropper, is to look at the block you want, go /set block or whatever you want, and then press tab and space and tab and space and tab. And those are the coordinates of the block you're looking at. So in this case, the dropper. So you see 6156 minus 564, and I just highlight those by holding Shift and left key, and then Command C or Control C, and then you would just paste them into the end of there. So there you go, 6156 minus 564. Simple as that. Anyway, so if that actually tests true, and that will test true if the block in the ArmorStand, so the dropper over there, has the same items in it as this, that will test true, and it will then clone something else. Now here we have a little bit of reciprocation. We've added an extra layer in, and this is to counter something I discovered that these crafting tables do, is that if you execute at type equals ArmorStand and you clone a block to it, if you have multiple stations out at once, it will clone that block to all of them. So you can replicate items. You can duplicate items by having a whole lot of crafting tables out at once. So what I have added here is I've gone execute at entity type equals ArmorStand, name equals station, as per usual, but we're then going to do a next did execute. We're then going to execute at player, range equals 5, at the nearest player within a range of 5 blocks. And then we're going to then execute at that player, execute at entity type equals ArmorStand, name equals station, range equals 5. So what that's doing is that this will only work if there is a player within 5 blocks of them. Now you can of course break this by putting 2 of these stations within 10 blocks and of each other and standing between them, and that's where the honesty comes in. If you want to do this properly and have a more fun experience, don't do that. Have them separated out by at least 10 blocks, and you shouldn't encounter this problem. But anyway, so we're going to execute at the ArmorStand within a range of 5 blocks of the player. We're going to clone, and now we're going to do the coordinates the other way. So the coordinates of the block we're cloning from, which you can see are the two sets there are the same number, and those are the coordinates of the dropper directly in front of me. If I just go carry on here, and we're going to clone that to tilde 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 relative to the ArmorStand. So that's these blocks here, and once again you can just go set block, tab, tab, tab to get those right. And then it's pretty much the same from there on. All you have to do is copy and paste these commands down this line, and then just change the numbers as you do. So here we have the saddle crafting recipe. So 5 leather, 2 string, 1 piece of iron, and that makes a saddle. And then over here we have the coal blocks. So we have 9 pieces of coal compressed together to make a diamond. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how to add a new crafting recipe, because you can add and edit these as much as you want before you actually start this survival world, just by changing the items in this. So if I want to make that, say, instead of being an iron ingot, I want to make it a gold ingot, I can do that just by doing that. And the recipe over here is no longer going to be an iron ingot, it's going to be a gold ingot, and I'll prove that. If I go over here and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leather, and 1, 2 string, and 1 iron, doesn't work. But if we go and get a gold ingot, ta-da! There we go, now it works. So you can edit recipes and add new recipes very easily. That is the reason that I like this, because the reason I like using droppers, because they have the 3x3 grid and you can just edit them that easily. Anyway, so we're going to add a new command. So I'm just going to go select that block, and whoops, not that one, and place it there, and grab the comparator and place it there, and I'm going to grab another one of these blocks and place it there. And I won't leave the redstone over yet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold, to select a block and its NBT data, I discovered this not long ago, you can hold Control if you're on a Windows or Command if you're on a Mac, hold that and middle mouse click, and it will select the block, but also its NBT data. So this dropper, you'll notice, has these 9 coal blocks in it, and if I place this down, oh look, 9 coal blocks and the name. So that's how you select a block and its NBT data. So I'm just going to go over here, and I'm going to grab this one over here, and hold Command or Control, depending on your system, and middle mouse click, run back over here, and I'm going to do my really iffy placement here, which most people will yell at. I don't care. It works for my current situation. And now we're going to place it on the other side as well. Exactly the same thing. Cool. So now we have the setup that we need. All we need now is the commands and then the recipes. So, what we're going to do for the commands is we can just copy paste one of these ones. So, copy and paste. And all we're going to do now is we're going to change those last 3 numbers, which are the coordinates of this block here. So we're going to go set block, space tab, space tab, space tab. Hold shift and left arrow, and we're going to select those coordinates, and then Control C or Command C, depending on what operating system you're on. Delete those numbers up to that last space, and then Command V, paste. And that is now going to test for the block from the ArmorStand to this. Right. Then we do exactly the same thing over here. Copy and paste. And then once again, we're just going to go over here, and we're going to go set block, tab, 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 highlight that, copy that, and now this one is in twice, so all we've got to do is delete all these numbers in here. Make sure you've still got 2 spaces between the clone and the first tilde, go into the middle of them and go paste, space, paste. And that is then going to clone those. So we're going to add a new recipe over here, so I'm going to make one of my older recipes, which was for an idea for horse armor. So we're going to make some diamond horse armor. I'm getting some lag suddenly. So we're going to do that. We're going to go into, is it under tools or combat? I think it's under material, miscellaneous. Here we go, diamond horse armor. So we're going to add the recipe first. So we're going to go diamond block in the middle, leather, and then legs and head. So that kind of makes the shape of diamond horse armor, don't you think? Yeah. Then we're going to go over to the other dropper, put the diamond horse armor in the middle, and then the last thing we need to do, just run the redstone over there so it's now activating this. And what you'll notice now is that if I go over here and I grab those ingredients again, so we're going to go diamond, leather, and diamond block. And if we place these in the right recipe, diamonds, leather, and diamond block, and ta-da! We've crafted diamond horse armor. So yeah, that's very easy to add new recipes. If you really want, if you can't even be bothered to place the blocks, you can just clone from here to here and just clone it over 2 blocks. And you can just keep doing that. And you can basically mass produce these and add a whole lot of them at once. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. This is completely survival friendly. So if you want to have a custom survival experience with some specialized items, set up a custom crafting system on creative, and then change your game mode into survival and never touch it again. And all you need to do is take a crafting table, chuck it on the ground, throw a piece of cobblestone on it, and you have your custom crafting system right there. Oh look, I found a horse. I'm going to make it some awesome armor. Got all my diamonds. There we go. More diamond horse armor. And then once again you're done with it, break it, pick up your crafting table, and go. Cool. Guys, I hope you have enjoyed this system. Thank you very much for watching. I've been AxelMC131, and I'll see you next time.